Hi comrades, and welcome to Pandemic Sewing 101 video number 8. Today we're going to be doing 4-hole buttons. We're going to be starting on fasteners. So 4-hole buttons can come in all different sizes and actually different shapes too, though all the ones I have are round. But what makes a 4-hole button is that it has 4 holes in it. So you can have little shirt buttons, big coat buttons. These are suspender buttons. This is probably the 4-hole button that we use the most in the costume shop, and so that's the one that we're going to be using for the demo. So to do a 4-hole button, you're going to thread your needle and knot it off like you have done every other time. And you're going to come up through the fabric at the red dot where it says 4-hole button. Pull your thread through. Then you're going to put your thread through one hole, go diagonally across your button, and go back down through. So now you've got your button sort of hanging on your thread. Then you're going to take, can you zoom in, Toby? A little bite of the fabric right at the dot where you came out. So that's what it's going to look like when you're taking your stitch. And then you're going to pull your thread so that your button is not super tight to the fabric. You want it to have a tiny bit of wiggle to it. If you want, you can even put a pin under the button to like keep that spacing even. But as long as you've got like a little wiggle, you're fine. Then you're going to come up through the same hole that you went down, back down through the same hole. So you're basically making a line across the top of the button. And then take another little bite right at your red dot. And you're going to do that same thing about 4 times across that pair of holes. You can pause. So once you've gone across your first 2 holes about 4 times, what you'll have is your button's pretty securely done on the front. And then you'll have a little wad of thread on the back. You don't want a big line of thread because that'll make your fabric bunch up. If you have a few loose little loops like this, that's not a big deal. So once you have your first 2 holes done, you're going to do the exact same thing on the next 2 holes. So across your holes and across your holes, and you're going to repeat that about 4 times. You can pause. Okay, so now you've got your thread going across the diagonal this way and across the diagonal this way. So on your last time going through your second set of holes, you're going to catch your fabric just like you've been doing and pull your needle through. And so now your button is secure, but it's kind of floating above the fabric. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your thread and you're going to wrap it around that clump of threads under your button a bunch of times. And what that does is it makes like a little stem that the button sits on. And that's so that the button has space between it and the fabric so that there's room for whatever you would be buttoning this to go. So once you've wrapped it enough times that the button feels sturdy, I usually do like 6-ish times, you're going to put your needle through to the back side of your fabric. And ideally you would come out next to where all of your other thread had been coming out, but if you're a little off to the side, it's not a huge deal. And you're going to knot off like you've knotted off every other time. And that is a 4-hole button.